first step towards a national prostate screening programme, the MRI scan that could be a better way of detecting the most common cancer in middle-aged men.
Good morning. Ever arrived somewhere on holiday to find your bags didn't make it? Well, you're not alone. Last year was the worst in a decade for lost luggage. I'll have the details and tell you what your rights are.
In sport this morning, Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood will leave the club after a 6-month investigation into his conduct. He was arrested in January last year before all charges against him were dropped.
The next move in encouraging more children to play chess, £1 million funding boost and 100 boards to be installed in public parks. So let's have a look at the Tuesday morning papers, shall we? And most of them, not surprisingly, leading on the front pages with the sentencing of Lucy Letby. Here's the Daily Mirror saying one final act of wickedness as it focuses on what it calls the fury at Letby, refusing to appear in court as she was handed that life sentence.
The Times uses another picture of her, this time smiling with a drink in her hand. According to the paper, Justice Secretary Alex Chalk says the government wants to change the law at the earliest opportunity to force the worst offenders to attend court to face justice.
We'll talk to one of his predecessors, Robert Buckland, about that a bit later. Here, The Guardian has a picture of England's goalkeeper, Mary Earps, on the front page. The paper reporting fans are using DIY methods to put her name on their shirts after Nike, of course, decided not to produce a replica England goalkeeper shirt. So fans are doing it themselves.
And Mason Greenwood appears on the back page of The Telegraph today following the announcement that he is going to leave Manchester United. The Crown Prosecution Service has dropped charges against him. He's not been sacked by the club, but it was announced yesterday that it was in the best interests of all parties that Greenwood leaves Old Trafford.
We both love a detectorist story, don't we?
Love that,
and
yes.
This in the Mail is brilliant. This is a guy called Andy Taylor from Lincoln. He and his mate went to metal detectoring in Nottinghamshire, not far from Sherwood Forest.
Oh.
There's the clue. And what did they find? But a golden posy ring, and the inscription on it suggests that it belonged to a Sheriff of Nottingham.
No.
Yeah, apparently. Back in the 1400s, they reckon. I mean, not necessarily the Sheriff of Nottingham from the Robin Hood stories.
I see.
Yeah. But what's weird is that Andy and his mate Graham both found rings within 5 minutes of one another. One is this one, one is another signet ring from another sheriff. But yeah.
Very, very, very lucky.
And now they're both in the money by the sounds of it, because they're both up for auction for thousands of pounds.
And they've been there all that time.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it?
That is amazing.
Now to take a look at the front pages, let's see what's dominating. Now, the Metro leading with the sentencing of Lucy Letby. Their headline there, calculating, cunning, cruel, cowardly. That's after the killer nurse failed to appear in the courtroom dock yesterday. And that's also on the front page of The Eye. Now, it says, coward Letby refuses to face baby's parents at sentencing. And the Daily Express continues the coverage with a similar headline on on its front page, one final act of wickedness from a coward. A similar headline also there, gracing the front of the Daily Mirror. And it's how The Guardian is looking. Letby locked up for life over sadistic murder of 7 babies. And the Times also leading there on Lucy Letby's whole life sentence. And Daily Mail's headline reads, those lives were not yours to take. There is no forgiving, not now, not ever. And the front of the Telegraph features this from a victim's statement. In your own words, you killed them on purpose. You are evil. You did this. Meanwhile, the Financial Times reports that bosses on the blue chip index have been given a 16% pay rise amid calls from the Bank of England to avoid unsustainable raises. And the Star says that there's a big row brewing as coffee has overtaken tea as the nation's favourite drink. Controversial.